Barakah Halo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. Salutations to you brothers in the highways and hedges. Salutations also goes out to you brothers and few sisters that tune in to listen and learn. I'm the brother Malak from the Dillinger Soldier Camp here in Boston, Massachusetts. And as always, I pray this lesson be edifying to the elect. Okay, the name of this one is Follow the Logic, Precept upon Precept. Follow the logic, precept upon precept. Okay, the reason I'm bringing that out is because when you follow the logic of what the scriptures is trying to tell you, or not trying to tell you, telling you as you're reading, especially when you go from precept to precept to gain knowledge, to have understanding, you gain the understanding of whatever topic it is you are going into, right? In particular, the one I want to bring out with just a few scriptures. I won't make this too long because the scriptures basically speak for themselves, man. Okay, we don't need to go to seminary, school, university, or whatever. You know, the scriptures tell you that he ordained us, right? We don't need to be ordained by another man, by another creature, especially those that are beneath us, over us right now, but beneath us in the spirit, man. Okay, I'm talking about so-called white people, the devil that the Bible speaks of, you Edomites. Okay, let's just get right to it, right? First scripture I want to bring out before we go into it is Isaiah 28 verse 9. It says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make understand doctrine? So like whom shall he make understand doctrine? Then it answers the question. It says, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. So you have to study the milk first, man. You have to drink the milk first like a baby before you could chew, as you have to crawl before you walk, and walk before you run, right? The next verse says, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And every time I hear that, man, I just think about which is basically how it is. Sometimes, you know, you could be in one book, but you know, you'll get 2-3 different books, right, to prove one thing, or to prove what you're saying, right, by using different witnesses, man, that are in the same accord, right, and have the same account of what is being spoken of, man. Okay, and the topic at hand that you could easily understand, how should I say it, what the truth is the so-called Immaculate Conception, man. The scriptures is not teaching or telling you that the Lord's mother was impregnated by a spirit. You know, it just doesn't tell you that. It specifically tells you that the Lord came from the loins of a man, and a lineage, a line of men. Okay, because men produce the seed. Now, how did each and every one of those men get delivered? Well, by a woman, right? A woman is who gives birth. So it's a beautiful order to it, right? That people, you know, in biblical times back then understood perfectly, man. You know, it's not until Esau got out them caves and started, you know, effing things up, you know, turning the truth into a lie into the truth, that people started believing, but wasn't true, man. In other words, man. Okay, so like it, because I'm driving, so I'm trying to do this to the best of my ability. You know, so without further ado, let me just get out a few scriptures that prove that, man, that prove all that. This is the book of Romans I want to start with, right? Chapter 8, verse 3. It says, For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God sending Yahweh sending his own son, Yahushai, in the likeness of sinful flesh, in the same, and that's the point right there, right? But to finish reading that out, it says, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. But the point is that God sent his own son, Yahushai, his only begotten, in the likeness of sinful flesh, meaning just how everybody else is born. Okay? So if you speak to Christians, they will tell you that they believe that verse. But since they're not very spiritual and they don't have the understanding that the Lord has given us, first and foremost, our apostles, right? Their elders, all the way on down, right? They can't see it that way. Their mind is seared with lies, man. Lies taught to them by men, our enemies on top of that, man. Okay? When you go to the first book of Romans, and you go to verse 3, it says this. It says, concerning his son Yahushai HaMashiach, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. Like, how do you get around that, man? How do you read that and then still think that the Lord, that the Lord's mother was impregnated by a spirit, man? Who with angels, spirits can't have sex with flesh, man. And I'm not gonna go too deep into it as far as that. I just want to prove the point that scriptures prove with just here a little, there a little. You can see that, or Christians should realize, man, maybe I'm not understanding the scriptures I use to prove immaculate conception, because it will contradict what Romans is saying here, man. And that's my point. They read straight up scriptures that are just not even hard to understand, and still will gravitate to other interpretations of other scriptures that they have no understanding of, man. No true understanding of, because they think and they'll swear to you that they have understanding of it, man, but they don't, man. Right? Let's further prove it with what Solomon wrote in Wisdom of Solomon. Now listen closely. This is Wisdom of Solomon, and I'll start at chapter 7. I'll start at 1. It says, I myself also am a mortal man, like to all. Now, King Solomon was the wisest man on earth, man. So what he will say, it should, even to Christians, be 100% truth, right? Or true. It says, I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth, right? And who was the first? Who was the first made out of the earth? Of the earth, man. Adam, right? Adam was made of the earth, and Solomon here is saying that he's an offspring of him, which is true. Now, mind you, Solomon's father was David, but he didn't refer to David as him being an offspring of David, which he was. But my point is, if you follow the logic, he's trying to tell you, man, this is you are who your father is, who his father was, who his father's father was, and so on and so forth, all the way, back to Adam, basically, right? But I mean, we have lineages now, right? Isaac had Abraham had Isaac had Jacob and Esau. So that was two lines of people. As a matter of fact, the angel told Isaac's wife that two different nations are in her womb, two different manner of people. You can't get away. You can't get away from that. You have to think, as a Christian, as a logical thinker that these Christians swear they are, they will have to admit that, all right, you know, two different families, two different nations, two different manners of people came out of that womb, right? From the seed of Isaac. Hold on, let me just shift lanes real quick. Now back to Wisdom of Solomon 7. We're on verse 2. It says, and in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man. Here it is again, the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep. Verse 3. And when I was born, I drew in the common air. See, he's explaining everything that a baby from the womb to when he's out goes through, which is what we all go through, right? Verse 3 again. And when I was born, I drew the common air and fell upon the earth, which is like nature, which is of like nature. And the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do. As all others do. All babies cry when they come out, man. They weep, right? Verse 5. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. For there is no king. Salakia, hold on, I'm just slowing down over here. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. For all men, this is verse 6, for all men have an entrance into life and the like going out. They all have, Salakia, for all men have one entrance into life, and the other and the like going out, Salakia. And the light going out, meaning there's only one way into life and one way out of it, man. There has never been a king, and Yahushua is our king, right? The king of Israel, right? And so it goes to show you that Yahushua himself also came in that same manner. He was an offspring of another man, who was the offspring of another man, and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, and I'll end it off with these few verses. You know, and this is what I'm saying, precept upon precept. We done gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 different scriptures just to prove one topic, man. One fact, and that's that the Lord was born just like everybody else, man. All right, Joseph laid with Mary. Joseph is the biological father of Yahushua, man. Of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's the biological father. There's no way around it. That's it. Okay? Here it is, though, man. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 1. And look how it starts off. The book of the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? The generations. Hold on 1 second. It's got to shift. In other words, the gene pool, right? The generation of Yahushua HaMashiach. And then it says, the son of David. Why didn't it say the son of Joseph? Because it's letting you know that it's from way back there. It goes all the way back to Jacob. Okay? The book of the generations of Yahushua HaMashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Verse 2. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. Now you jump down to 16, because between verse 3 and verse 15 it tells you all the men that begot the next man, and the next and then the next man that begot the next. Okay, father, son, father, son, father, son, so on and so forth, man. Okay? But for sake of time, and because I'm in this bit of a dangerous curve, we're going to jump down to verse 16. And it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushai, who is called Hamashiach. Okay, so in this particular verse, right, the what is the word that they use? The subject matter is Joseph and Jacob, right? Because Jacob was already mentioned in the first couple verses, in the second verse, I believe. Yeah, in the second verse, Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob. So now we know Isaac already begot Jacob. So who did Jacob begot? It says, and Jacob begot, well, okay, yeah, because this Jacob is the father of Joseph, okay? And Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushai. Yahushai is the son of Joseph, who Joseph shot into Mary through the act of sex. All right. Not only was she a virgin in the sense that she was man, what is the phrase? What's the definition? A woman of marriageable age, but also, and I don't know the two Hebrew words right now. I can't look it up because I'm in the highway. And the other meaning of virgin, because when virgin comes up, it comes up in two different words, two different Hebrew words. One meant a woman of marriageable age, meaning a woman that a female that went from child to womanhood when she passed her flower, meaning started getting her menstrual cycle, right? And the other one was a literal virgin, meaning never been with another man, yo. And when when a woman is never with a man, they have this thing in their in the vagina, which is called a hymen, and the hymen is basically skin that only gets broken or teared up, or sex goes into cut when a man penetrates a woman, because where the penis is inserted, where a woman it gets penetrated through, before she ever gets penetrated, it has and you could look this up and see different pictures, of how it looks. Obviously, I'm not telling you to look at anything explicit, but there's how do you say it, man? Not diagrams, I forget exactly, because it's like the pictures that they will show us when we was in sex ed, that it wasn't no cartoon, it was like a drawing, but it wasn't like cartoons, but it wasn't also like a real female's vagina that they will have in front of us in the classroom. I think it's called a diagram, if I'm not mistaken. I forget now. But anyways, when you see that, when you look that up, you'll see it, man. Sometimes it looks a little webbish with little holes on it, or sometimes it's just like one little line, But the point is, when a man lays with a woman and he penetrates her, he cuts that. He takes that out the way, and some blood secretes out, man. This is why we use the tokens of the marriage, if I'm not mistaken, that's how you say it. It was that blood, man. That way the man can never say that the woman was with another man, or she's not a virgin, in the sense that she was that she's been with other men, because the blood that would come out and she would wipe herself with was the proof, man. Okay, and that was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, held by the parents, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Don't want to get too much into it and say something that I don't know too much of. But that is a fact right there, man. All right, the hymen, the word sex goes into cutting, man. And when a man has sex with a woman that's never had sex before, she's going to bleed, man, because the hymen will get cut or split or cut in half or teared. It will tear. All right, so I left off at verse 16, right? We hopped from verse 2 all the way to verse 16. It says, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushai, who is called Hamashiach, the anointed of who? Of Israel, the Holy One of Israel, man. Verse 17, and this is where I ended off. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From Abraham to David are 14 generations, okay? And from David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Hamashiach are 14 generations. So the Lord, he's an offspring, a literal physical offspring of King David, man. Point blank period. There's no such thing as immaculate conception. The word is not even in the Bible, man. All right. So again, as the title says, man, follow the logic. What logic? Of the precepts, man. Precept upon precept, man. You know, with that, I hope it was edifying, you know, especially to, you know, new brothers, new sisters coming into the fold, coming into this truth, and you know, praying to get more understanding. You know, ultimately, it all boils down to if you're a part of the elect. So we that's something I pray I'm a part of. So brothers and sisters should do the same, man. You know. But if you have the understanding, chances are you probably are, you know. Chances are. I'm not calling it because only the Lord knows, okay? Only Yahweh knows. But I'm just saying, man, you know, pray for that understanding. And if you do get it, you don't buck up against it, it resonates with you, then you might have a chance, man. You might have a good chance, man, to be a part of the elect. Because the elect are the ones that's going to get this. The elect is the ones that are not going to buck up, that are not going to be offended. They're going to hear the Lord's voice the Lord's voice through the mouthpiece, which is the prophets, and they're going to follow, man. No ifs, ands, buts about it. They're going to follow it, not blindly. They're going to be fully awake, man. All right, so I pray this was edifying again. And in closing, I want to give all honors and praises and thanks, man, to our power for giving me the inspiration to bring this out. All right, so I want to say, Kol Halo Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors again to the apostles of GMS who teach and rule well and continue being great examples to us younger brothers. Salutations to you brothers in the highways and hedges. Salutations to you brothers and few sisters that tune in to listen and learn. You're almost out of here. All right, Kwam Yasha Allah and Ababa Ball.